2 weeks ago, Bryce Sanford was stabbed in the throat with his own weapon while trying to kill Peter Langston. The man once feared by everyone now bled out like anyone else, face twisted in shock. I watched from the floor, holding Peter's wound, thinking how far we'd come. This wasn't revenge, this was survival. Peter had once called his son to the cops. For that, he was branded a monster. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. I still remember watching Peter cradle a sobbing inmate after he lost his daughter. It didn't match the man they claimed he was. Back then, I hated predators, I still do. But Peter didn't move like a predator, he moved like a broken dad. His kindness, unnoticed by the guards, began to change something in me. Bookie was already circling back then, sniffing for weakness. But Peter never flinched. I thought I knew the enemy. Before I landed inside, I believed men like Peter were the worst. It was easier to hate than to look closer. But after a week bunked near him, I saw the truth in his silence. He read worn letters from his son every night, lips moving like prayer. Bookie called him ghost bait, but Peter never bit. He had eyes that knew pain. It hit me I'd been wrong. Maybe the worst monsters wore badges. The laundry room standoff changed everything. Bookie cornered Peter, demanding silence about Emily. I saw the flash of a blade before Peter struck first. Hurling detergent in Bookie's eyes, chaos erupted. I grabbed a mop handle and swung hard, backing Peter. Guards rushed in too late. Peter took the blame. 30 days in a hole. That's when I knew we weren't just inmates. We were threats to a system that protected predators and silenced truth. Peter returned from the hole gaunt and quiet, but something in his eyes had hardened. Bookie kept his distance, but his henchmen circled. Tara, a nurse who smuggled in bandages, whispered that Bookie had dirt on the warden. We weren't just facing prison politics, we were in a web. Peter started keeping notes in a Bible. I asked why he sent because even the devil reads scripture. The war wasn't coming, it had begun. Bookie lured me into a setup, planted contraband in my cell. I was dragged to solitary, fists flying. Peter somehow slipped a note through the wall: stay silent, they'll fold. 3 days later, I was out, charges dropped. Tara hinted it wasn't just luck, Peter had called in a favor. From who? I didn't ask. I just knew we had allies in the dark. And Bookie had underestimated how far broken men would go for justice. Peter showed me his son's last letter, written before the system labeled him a predator. They threatened me, it read. If I speak, they'll hurt Emily. The handwriting shook. That night, Bookie's crew beat Peter in the yard. He came back limping but alive, they're panicking. He said through cracked lips, that letter, it wasn't just a message. It was a map, a clue buried in pain. And we were finally learning to read it. A red herring nearly split us. Tara was caught with Peter's Bible. Bookie claimed she was feeding him info, working both sides. I doubted, but Peter didn't. She saved my ribs, he said. Days later she returned, bruised but silent. She passed me a thumb drive. Truth's heavier than bars, she whispered. Whatever was on it, Peter trusted her. And now so did I. Bookie's lies couldn't match the weight of what we were about to uncover. I couldn't finish the whole story in this short. The full story is on my channel and link below.